Football Manager 2023 is very almost upon us, or rather, it was very almost upon me until I was given early alpha access. Yes, we are here on the main menu. Today, I want to talk about 5 features that I am very excited about in FM this year. There is no hiding it. When the headline features video went out, and I did my reaction video to it, which of course you can find on the channel, I was a little underwhelmed by what was on show, but having had a few days of early access to play around with the game, get to grips with things and experiment, I'm pleased to report that actually some of the features that I was underwhelmed by are actually really good, and there is loads of little hidden changes that Sports Interactive never sing and shout about that are in the game this year that I really love. So yes, today is 5 of my favourite features. I hope you're excited. If you're new to the channel, of course, subscribe. More FM23 videos dropping on the regular. Once again, thank you to Sports Interactive for providing me with alpha access to make this unfiltered content. And, well, shall we get into things? Let's do this. So my first feature in this video is actually one I was rather skeptical of, the new recruitment meetings. I jokingly said in my feature reaction video, who actually attends these meetings? Because I certainly didn't in FM22. In FM23, I will. First things first, you enter the meeting, you can quickly go through your squad, look at areas of the pitch based on position. If there's areas you don't like the look of or you want to get new players in, you can immediately set up recruitment focuses where you scout that position from this screen. If you're going to a club that you know very little about, you can be able to evaluate your squad quality so much more easily, which I absolutely love. From this screen, you can rearrange your players as you see fit in terms of where they fit into your squad plans. This is basically a massive upgrade on the old squad depth screen. You're then able to look at the contracts expiring. This is something that existed last year. This hasn't changed too much, but still nice to have it as part of this workflow as you go through this meeting. After that, my favorite screen in this whole system is the loan development screen, where basically you can go through all your youth players and decide, hey, which should be loaned out for the year. And it might actually make me use a loan manager this year in Football Manager if this screen is as good as I think it's going to be usability-wise. And having sorted out the players you want to keep, the players whose contracts you're not going to renew, the final screen is the one that outlines your recruitment focuses and recommends them for you based on your team. So you might have set up goalkeepers or right-backs like I did here at Lincoln City, but my recruitment team think we need some wingers. They think we need some players out on the wing. So I can take them up on that suggestion, but not only that, I can also fine-tune the recruitment focus that they've given me. Of course, when you do this, it means you're going to get less players recommended for you, but that kind of freedom of control and the ability to take on a suggestion that the AI gives you, but then fine-tune it, I think is a massive step forward this year. After a recruitment meeting has wrapped up, you do also get a little inbox summary, which allows you to easily action changes. And well, I'll just show you a little bit more of what's new this year. You can now talk to your agents of players about their wage demands before you go into the contract negotiations. There's nothing worse, is there, than sitting down on the table, you give a player a contract offer, and then it all turns red and gets angry, and the player's upset, you're upset, and they don't want to sign a new contract. So now you can really feel out the waters by talking to the agents beforehand. And on top of that, just a little bonus feature, agents can be used to talk to players about their unhappiness. So if you've got an unhappy player, maybe you're lacking some super influential players in the changing room who can sort out that unhappiness, you might want to consider asking the player's agent to have a word with the player in question. Here we have an example at PSG in the final week of the January transfer window. First things first, you get the contract suggestions. Sergio Ramos's contract's up. We can give him a new deal if we so wish. After that, we have a chance to look at some of our players attracting interest, a nice screen just to weigh up who you might want to cash in on in the last week of the transfer window. And following on from that, you're able to go through recommended players based on your recruitment focuses from your recruitment team, including near misses. I love the near misses. Players that you might just have missed previously in Football Manager now still get suggested to you. You get one final screen of other players, which again, I really like the idea of. There's nothing worse in Football Manager than realising you missed out on a bargain. This great player that you didn't quite spot, he moved to a rival a week before you clicked on his profile and realised he existed. Like I said, I was very sceptical of this feature in the feature reveal video. I need to eat humble pie. It's really good. I'm impressed with it, and it feeds really nicely into the next couple of things I want to talk about regarding recruitment, because that's another area where the game really has stepped up this year. So in FM23, there has been a big overhaul to the process of recruiting players, scouting players, setting up assignments. You can still set up some assignments. We'll talk about that shortly. But when it comes to finding specific players, I think we've had a big step forward this year. Here is the overview screen of the scouting section of the game. You can see the recruitment focus is in the top left, a big new focus of things. Now, I did already show this window here a little bit in the previous feature, but just so you can see how it works. So in the recruitment screen, we can basically set up scouts to look for specific players. We could have it set so they're not looking for any position in particular and they're just looking around the world for youth prospects. You can set up pretty much any assignment you could do in previous Football Managers this way. Here though, I'm looking for a new playmaker for my team. As you can see, there's all the different settings you can set up, potential, further details, you can limit the wage demands of players, and you can also change the priority of things. For this one, I want a top priority focus on this. So I'm sending all my scouts in the January transfer window to try and find me a centre attacking mid. I want all hands on deck, 21 years old, lots of potential. I'm going to send them on their merry way. And a week later, even though they've not fully scouted players and they're not fully happy with what they've got, I am able to see, here's the players that the staff are currently looking at. There's 22 of them. At this point, I could choose to manually review these players myself, or alternatively, I could wait, and I could wait until the end of the recruitment period. In this case, I waited 3 weeks for some recommendations to come through. First things first, can we discuss this inbox item? Looks wicked, shows all your recruitment focuses that are set up. From here, you can access the results for all of them. In this instance, though, of course, we are interested in our attacking advanced playmaker. We have 10 recommendations based on the parameters we set. We could look through these players, we could review them, we could sign the one that we think fits the bill the most, or if we're not happy, we can tell the recruitment to widen the parameters so that they just naturally throw up more results for you. All in all, this whole workflow, this whole process is way better this year. I'm definitely guilty in FM22 of getting lazy, not assigning my scouts myself. I'm going to do more of that in FM23 thanks to this new workflow alone. One of my favourite things when it comes to scouting in Football Manager is just sending my scouts away to faraway lands and having them come back with new knowledge of new wonder kids that I had no idea existed. And there is a new screen which I absolutely adore, the scouting coverage screen. This takes a globe and shows you in visual form what knowledge you have of the world, where you're scouting in the world, and really makes it easy to identify where to, well, maybe send your scouts, but also allows you to send your scouts so quickly from one screen. And much like the other scouting stuff I've already talked about, this is just improving what's already there and taking it up a notch. I love this so much. Like, I'm someone who loves building out a scouting network, and having a visual representation that is thrown in your face, that is ever present, I think is a wicked addition to the game. I know this isn't going to be for everyone. It's one of those things that when I saw it, I thought, man, this is such a minor little change, but it's something that I am not going to be able to live without. It's going to encourage you to sign staff from around the world to fill out the gaps in the knowledge that you have. I look forward to seeing people trying to paint the entire earth green with good scouting knowledge of everywhere, setting up with affiliates, the ability to click on specific nations on a map and see, hey, this is where you have the knowledge from. It could be from an affiliate, it could be from a staff member. It's not a big feature, it's not going to excite everyone, but for me personally, it's a big step forward, and I think it really feeds into that idea of building out a web, a scouting network, something that we see more and more in real world football, and for me personally, it's one of those little minor things that I'm very excited about. So last year, we had the Data Hub added to Football Manager, one of the most exciting features in recent iterations. In fact, I thought going into the year, it was going to be one of my most used new things. The reality really was, though, the usability wasn't all that great. It's not a manager's job to look at all the data. The analyst team should be able to filter the data and say, here's the useful stuff, here's some ideas of what we could action off the back of it. And well, with that said, the Data Hub this year has seen improvements. First and foremost, if you go to your team's analytics screen, no longer are you going to have to manually click on every single little thing you want to have added. Instead, you can just hit the edit visuals and then you can select everything if you want. Of course, you can tweak it as you see fit, but it's a really quick and easy way to get all the data that you want to see in the Data Hub immediately. Previously, you had to spend 15 minutes setting it up. So that, in my books, is a big win. Of course, you can rejig around the graphs, the data, have stuff that you want and don't want on this screen. And on top of that, you can also favorite different data. And as a result of that, your analyst team will prioritize featuring some of those data points that you find most interesting in the inbox for you to sort through, which is a big win. That solves some of the biggest problems I had with the Data Hub using it last year. On top of that, same situation for players. You can easily import all the graphs that you could ever want for individuals, which I think is a massive win. And during the season, you will get various inbox items related to your recent form, recent matches, players' performances, and basically that filtering that didn't exist last year does exist this year. So a big thumbs up from me. There's also some other new inbox items I love. Playing in the Bundesliga, I was getting Player of the Week inbox items where I'd have the Player of the Week, but I'd get a load of data about that player to do with how they performed versus the rest of the league and to do with how they performed in that specific match versus everyone else on the pitch. Expected assists, their shots on targets. In this example, you can see Patrick Schick dominated the game for Bayer Leverkusen. I can see that data, and if I want to, at the click of a button, I can hop in game and watch highlights of his match, courtesy of my analysts. And suddenly, I'm starting to see a brighter future for the Data Hub. Last year, I thought it had potential. This year, I think it's getting closer to fulfilling that. Be interested to know what you make of these usability improvements yourself. For me personally, though, they have me optimistic. So the final new feature that I want to talk about is one that adds to the immersion of Football Manager, one that makes different clubs feel unique to manage, which can only ever be a good thing, and that is the new supporter profiles. Your supporter group are broken down into 6 categories. These will change depending on the season and depending on what majority are made up by who. That will impact how the club is run. You've got the hardcore, the core, the family, the fair weather fans, the corporate and the casual. And these will change. If you're managing Frankfurt, who of course just won the Europa League in real life and then have a not so good first season like I might have done, all the fair weather fans will start to go down and these proportions will change and that will alter how the club approach things. So you have your supporter profile, which is the different types of fans that you have, but you also have the supporters' influence on the board. This seems to be on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being if you do badly, if you piss off the fans, you're getting sacked. The board, they won't tolerate it. And much like how the board have expectations, in-game supporters have expectations and goals they want you to achieve. Often it'll be to beat your local rival. They might have longer-term plans. They might have plans that slightly alter from what the board want you to achieve. The fans might want to see some homegrown talent coming up through the ranks of the academy, or they might just want to see some nice attacking football. Like I said, anything like this that really adds variety to how you have to play the game is only a good thing in my book. So those are 5 features that I love in FM23. I will be honest with you, these features, some of them, I was very underwhelmed about when I heard them explained in the features reveal video, but having played a bit more of the game, having got hands-on with them, hopefully for you, having seen more of them, it gives you a better idea of what to expect when the beta drops in the very near future. If you have enjoyed today's video, do drop a like on it. If you're new around here, subscribe. A load of other creators have been given access to. I'm going to have a link at the end of this video to a playlist with all of their videos. So if you want even more alpha footage, you can check out their stuff. Until next time, take it easy. I'll see you again soon for more. And until then, it is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you all in a bit. I'm out.